We thought it was just an abandoned war tunnel. Sealed up. Forgotten. Buried deep in the woods like a scar no one wanted to remember. But when we broke the seal, we did not find rusted weapons or lost relics. We found something that was never supposed to be unearthed. Something that watched us. Something that remembered. One by one, it changed us. Took us. And what we left behind was not human anymore. This is not just a story. It is a warning. And if you keep listening, you might hear it too. The whisper. The hunger. The thing that waits. Watch until the end, or risk never sleeping the same again. It started as a dare. 3 of us. Me, Kyle, and Devin. We were bored college kids back in Pennsylvania. Our school sat near a patch of forest that used to be part of an old military base from World War II. Everyone knew about the war tunnels. But no one ever went near them. Not because they were dangerous. Because they were sealed. For a reason. Locals talked about strange noises echoing from under the ground. Like whispers. Or cries. But of course, we thought it was just small-town ghost stories. Until we found the hatch. It was hidden beneath layers of brush, moss, and rusted fencing. Right behind an abandoned warehouse near the tree line. A thick iron seal covered it. No lock. Just a solid slab of metal. We pried at the edges with crowbars. Took us nearly an hour. When it finally opened, the air that rushed out was wrong. Not stale. Not moldy. It smelled like burnt hair. And something metallic. We climbed down using a rope we had tied to a tree. The ladder had rotted away decades ago. The tunnel stretched into blackness. Our flashlights flickered as we stepped forward. The walls were lined with rusted pipes. Strange symbols were scratched into the concrete. Not military. Not graffiti. They looked hand-carved. Erratic. Desperate. The air grew colder the deeper we went. Devin said he heard breathing. We laughed at him. Nervous laughter. Not real. We kept walking. Then we found the first door. Steel. Heavy. But open. Inside was a room no bigger than a storage closet. Chains bolted to the wall. And something else. Scratches. Deep claw marks across the floor. Not animal. Human. Fingernails were still embedded in the concrete. Kyle turned pale. Said we should leave. Devin disagreed. Said we were too far to turn back. I did not say anything. I just kept walking. Then we found the lights. They should not have worked. But they flickered on, one by one, as we passed. Buzzing. Like someone was expecting us. That was when we heard it. Movement. Not footsteps. Something dragging. Wet. Slow. We froze. Our lights flickered again. Then we saw the writing. On the wall ahead. It looked fresh. Still dripping red. You broke the seal. The tunnel trembled. A low moan echoed from deep ahead. Kyle started crying. Devin told him to shut up. He was shaking too. I saw something move in the corner of my eye. A flash of pale. Not white. Skin. Bare skin. Something was crawling on the ceiling. Devin raised his flashlight. But the beam cut out. Everything went black. We heard a scream. Not from ahead. Behind us. Kyle was gone. Just gone. His flashlight lay on the ground. Still glowing. Pointed at the wall. More words had appeared. "It remembers." Devin ran. I chased him. The tunnel twisted. The walls began to change. What was once concrete now looked organic. Veins pulsed along the surface. Something warm dripped from above. It landed on my shoulder. It was not water. It smelled like blood. I turned to look. The tunnel behind us was gone. Just black. Endless black. And breathing. Loud. Wet. Devin screamed again. He was being pulled backward. Hands. Too many hands. Reaching from the walls. Clawing. Tearing. I could not help him. I ran. Not toward the hatch. Because it was gone too. The tunnel was shifting. It wanted me deeper. And I went. Because I had no choice. The lights kept turning on. One by one. Guiding me. Mocking me. Then I saw it. The room at the end. Massive. Round. And in the center. The pit. Stone walls. Covered in chains. And bones. Hundreds of bones. Stacked. Arranged like an altar. And above it. The thing. Not a creature. Not a person. Something that looked like both. Its skin was tight and gray. Its eyes were hollow. Black. Its mouth opened too wide. Far too wide. It did not speak. It just watched. Then it smiled. I heard the door slam behind me. Chains dropped from above. Wrapping around my arms. Pulling me upward. Toward it. Toward its mouth. Then the lights went out. All of them. The last thing I heard was Kyle's voice. Whispering. From inside the pit. "Now it is your turn." My body was paralyzed. Not from the chains. From fear. Pure. Primitive. Something ancient crawled beneath my skin. I tried to scream. No sound came out. The darkness was thick. Heavy. I could hear the chains creak above me. Pulling me closer. Closer to the thing that waited in the black. Then. A burst of light. Flickering. A single bulb above the pit came to life. And I saw them. Faces. Dozens of them. Staring from the walls. Embedded in the stone. Eyes wide. Mouths frozen open. Screaming. Kyle was among them. So was Devin. Their skin stretched tight. As if they had been absorbed. Preserved. I struggled. The chains only tightened. They were not made of metal. They were flesh. Veined. Warm. Alive. Wrapping around my wrists and ankles like snakes. Pulling. The thing stood at the edge of the pit now. Tall. Its limbs impossibly long. Its eyes glowing faintly. It opened its mouth again. And I heard them. Voices. All of them. Devin. Kyle. Others. Too many to count. All screaming from inside it. Begging. Pleading. Some laughing. Some crying. The sound hit me like a wave. I felt my ears pop. Blood trickled down my neck. Then. Silence. The chains released. I fell. Hard. Onto a cold, wet floor. But not in the same room. Somewhere deeper. I was surrounded by mirrors. Cracked. Fogged. Each one showed a different version of me. One with hollow eyes. One with no mouth. One that smiled back when I did not. Then the lights flickered again. And I saw a figure behind me in the mirror. But when I turned around, nothing. I looked back. Closer. The mirror version of me was still. Too still. Until it blinked. I did not. It raised its hand. I did not. It mouthed something. Slow. Deliberate. Feed it. Suddenly. I was back in the tunnel. Same spot. The hatch was above me. Open. Sunlight pouring in. I climbed out. Gasping. Shaking. But I was alone. No Devin. No Kyle. No ropes. Just dirt. And silence. I ran back to town. Told the police. They searched. Found nothing. No hatch. No tunnel. Just untouched woods. Like it had never existed. Like I had imagined it. But I knew. It was real. I felt the scars around my wrists. Burned into my skin. The mirrors at home began to show things they should not. Shadows behind me. Flickers of movement. Whispers when I turned off the lights. Every night, the dream returned. The pit. The thing. The chains. The faces. And the voice. Getting closer. Louder. More real. Feed it. Feed it. Last night, I found a note on my kitchen table. Handwritten. It was not my handwriting. It said. The seal was never meant to be broken. Now you belong to it. I did not sleep. I do not think I can anymore. The thing is inside my mirror now. And it is smiling. I covered every mirror in my apartment. Bed sheets. Tape. Nailed boards over the bathroom glass. But it did not matter. Its reflection found new places. The black screen of my phone. The blank surface of my turned-off TV. The sheen of my coffee pot. Always smiling. Always waiting. Every time I blinked, it seemed a little closer. A little clearer. I started sleeping during the day. But dreams still came. In them, I was back underground. Back in the pit. The thing no longer looked like a stranger. It looked like me. A version of me that had never escaped. Its mouth stretched open in a perfect O. Endless. And from inside it came a whisper. You are the door now. That phrase haunted me. I wrote it down one night just to get it out of my head. I looked down at the paper the next morning. The handwriting had changed. Not mine. Sharper. Unnatural curves. There were more words now. The next must enter willingly. That same day, a knock came at my door. It was a kid. High school age. Said he had heard rumors about an old war tunnel from some forum. Said he tracked the location back to me. He smiled too much. Too confidently. Like he knew something I did not. Behind his eyes. I saw it. Flickers. Of the thing. Of the pit. I told him there was nothing here. I told him to leave. But he did not. He stood there. Staring. Then he whispered. It's already inside, isn't it? The lights in my apartment dimmed. All at once. Not off. Just lower. Like something was drawing power. I slammed the door. But I could still hear him. On the other side. Laughing. Not like a kid. Like something much older. Much deeper. I turned around. And my apartment had changed. Walls stretched taller. The floor felt sticky. The air smelled like rot and copper. Like the tunnel. Like the pit. I blinked. And I was no longer in my apartment. I was back in the room of mirrors. Only now, all the reflections were moving. Twisting. Melting. Their mouths opened. Every single one. And they screamed. Not in pain. In hunger. Feed it. The door behind me slammed open. And the thing stepped through. Wearing my face. Only older. More sunken. Its eyes were endless holes. It held out its hand. And I reached back. Not because I wanted to. But because something inside me needed to. Because the hunger was growing. Because now. I understood. The seal was not to keep it in. It was to keep us out. To keep us from becoming what it needed. The next vessel. The next voice. The next mirror. And I am almost ready. I do not remember taking its hand. But I did. The cold that passed through me was not natural. It was not just temperature. It was memory. Pain. Time. I saw flashes. Moments that were not mine. Men in uniform. Screaming in the dark. Being dragged into that pit one by one. Begging. Praying. Bleeding. Then. A circle of them. Kneeling. Chanting. In a language that scratched at the inside of my skull. They were not sealing it away. They were feeding it. Their comrades. One after another. Sacrifice in exchange for protection. Or power. Or both. Their eyes were empty, just like mine felt now. Just like Kyle's had been before he vanished. Then I saw it. The truth. There is no thing. Not really. It is not a monster. Not in the way you would expect. It is a memory. A hunger passed down like a curse. Each time it is found. Each time the seal is broken. It attaches to someone. One of the intruders. Someone curious enough to open the door. Someone willing enough to carry it forward. I was chosen. Because I opened it. Because I heard the voice. And I listened. Now, I am not sure where I am. The mirrors are gone. The pit is gone. But the thing is still with me. Inside me. Watching through my eyes. Waiting. The boy came back. The one from the door. I woke up last night, and he was standing at the foot of my bed. He did not speak. He just pointed. To the corner of my room. Where the wall had started to crack. And behind that crack. Stone. Old stone. With symbols. The same ones from the tunnel. I asked him what he wanted. He smiled. Said, "You are ready now." Then vanished. The next morning, I found a shovel by my front door. Covered in dirt. And a note. Dig. I did. I do not remember walking to the woods. But my hands were blistered. My nails split. The soil soaked with something darker than water. And beneath it. Wood. Rotting. Boards that groaned when I touched them. And under those boards. The hatch. The same iron seal. But this time. It was already open. Waiting. Welcoming. I heard voices inside again. Not Kyle. Not Devin. New ones. Louder. Closer. They chant now. Not words I know. But I understand them. They are calling for the next. And I know who it will be. I do not feel fear anymore. Just hunger. And purpose. Tonight, I will find someone. Someone curious. Someone reckless. I will tell them a story. About an old war tunnel. About a forgotten pit. And a seal. That was never meant to be broken. I sat in the coffee shop for hours. Watching. Listening. Waiting. I knew the signs now. The way they looked at shadows too long. The way their eyes lingered on silence. I saw her around noon. Late 20s. Alone. Scribbling something in a notebook. I saw what she drew when she got up to refill her cup. Circles. Symbols. The same ones I saw in the tunnel. The same ones carved into my thoughts. She had already heard it. Felt it. She was perfect. I left a note on her table. It read. You felt it too. I can show you where. She found me outside. Asked no questions. Just nodded. We walked without speaking. Into the woods. To the clearing. To the hatch. It looked like it had never been touched. Clean. Undisturbed. But I could feel it breathing. Just beneath the surface. I looked at her. She did not hesitate. She climbed down first. Like she had done it before. Like she belonged there. I followed. The air was thicker this time. The walls looked wetter. Veined. Like skin stretched too thin. She turned to me in the dark. And said something that made my heart stop. I dreamed of you. I wanted to speak. But the tunnel moaned. A long, deep sound. Like a throat clearing before a feast. The lights came on. Brighter than before. Flickering fast. Strobing. The shadows moved between each blink. I knew where it was leading us. Back to the room. Back to the pit. We reached it faster this time. The path no longer fought us. It opened for us. Welcoming. The altar was still there. But now, it was clean. Cleared. Ready. She stepped forward. Stood above it. And raised her arms. The thing emerged slowly. Not crawling this time. Not dragging. It rose. Like it had always been part of the room. Like the pit was its throne. It looked at her. Then at me. And it smiled. Not with lips. But with the sound of the chains above. Clinking. Tightening. They dropped from the ceiling like vipers. But not for her. For me. She stepped aside. Watched silently. I screamed. I begged. She did not flinch. She only whispered. You were never meant to carry it forever. I was born for this. The thing opened its mouth. And I felt myself unraveling. Like thread pulling loose. Memories. Voices. Pieces of myself tearing away. She stepped into the pit. Into its embrace. And the chains let go. I dropped to the ground. Empty. Hollow. But free. The lights dimmed. The air stilled. The thing was gone. And so was she. The altar glowed faintly. A new seal had formed. Fresh. Unbroken. I crawled back through the tunnel. Through the darkness. Alone. Alive. When I reached the surface, the hatch was sealed shut. Gone again. Like it had never been there. But I know it still waits. I feel it in the back of my skull. In every mirror I pass. In every silence too long. It has a new voice now. A new vessel. And she will find the next. Because the seal was never meant to last. Only to delay. And the hunger. It never ends. Weeks passed. I tried to live. Normal hours. Normal food. Normal thoughts. But the cracks had already formed. In me. In the world around me. I saw her once. Across the street. Standing still in the rain. Unmoving. Soaked to the bone. But her face was dry. Bone white. Her eyes locked to mine. And I felt it again. That cold. That silence. That invitation. I looked away. Just for a second. When I looked back. Gone. But that night, the dreams returned. Not of the pit. Not of the thing. This time, it was her. Wearing a smile made of too many teeth. Walking through cities. Through crowds. Touching people as she passed. And every one of them stopped. Their faces twisted. Eyes rolled back. Mouths opened in silent screams. The sound came after. A chorus. Low. Wet. Feed it. I woke up gasping. The mirror in my room was uncovered. Shattered. And written on the shards, in something red. You brought it back. I tried to run. To leave town. But the roads turned in on themselves. Signs disappeared. Every path led back to my apartment. The sky never changed. Always twilight. Always still. As if the world itself had curled into something else. Something watching. Waiting. Then came the scratching. From inside the walls. At first, soft. Like mice. But it grew. Claws. Nails. Teeth. Something just behind the drywall. Trying to get out. Or in. The TV turned on by itself. No channel. Just static. And a voice underneath. Garbled. Distorted. But familiar. My own voice. Repeating the words over and over. You opened the seal. Now you are the map. They will come. I smashed the screen. But the voice kept going. From the walls. The floorboards. The pipes. Until I realized. It was not coming from the apartment. It was inside me. Echoing through my bones. Through the cracks left by the thing. Through the hunger that never really left. She is building something now. I see it in my dreams. A cathedral of stone and flesh. A new altar. A deeper pit. And every night. Someone new stands at the edge. And jumps. Willing. Smiling. I tried to stop her. I tried to warn them. But the more I speak, the more they listen. And when they listen, they hear it. The pull. The chant. The promise. So I stay quiet now. Locked in this room. Lights on. Mirrors covered. But I know it is too late. Because I can feel it growing. Even now. Under my floor. Behind my eyes. The thing did not die. It never does. It waits. And now. So do I. Because soon. Someone will knock. And I will open the door. And I will smile. And I will say. Have you heard about the tunnel? That final knock came on a Sunday. Morning light filtered through the blinds. But it felt cold. Gray. Still. I stood there for a long time. Hand on the doorknob. Heart silent. Not racing. Not afraid. Just quiet. Like the moment before a breath. I opened the door. A man stood there. Older. Eyes sunken. Dirt under his nails. He looked at me like he had known me forever. Like I was just the next stop. He said nothing. Just held out a journal. Familiar leather. Familiar symbols. It was Kyle's. I stepped back. He stepped in. And just like that, I knew. I was done. The story was no longer mine. The hunger had moved on. I followed him into the woods. Not because I had to. But because endings matter. Because if I left it unwatched, untold, unfinished, it might grow in silence. Unseen. Stronger. We stopped at the clearing. The hatch was gone. Just earth now. Smooth. Unbroken. But we both knew it was still there. Buried. Waiting. He knelt. Pressed his hand to the ground. And whispered. Words I had once heard in a dream. The earth pulsed. Once. Then stilled. The hunger was quiet. Asleep again. For now. He stood. Turned to me. And smiled. Not a cruel smile. Not one full of teeth. But something tired. And kind. A smile that said. You did your part. I left the woods without looking back. And for the first time in a long while, the world felt real again. Lighter. Brighter. But I know it will not last. It never does. Somewhere, someday. Someone will dig. Someone will listen. Someone will open the seal again. But not me. Not this time. My story ends here. And if you are listening now, if the symbols find you, if the shadows whisper, turn away. Do not answer. Do not follow. Because what sleeps beneath is not waiting to be understood. It is waiting to be fed. And now, you know where to find it.